Hi everyone, welcome back to yoga and welcome to part one of what will be an at least two-part series dedicated to posture. So we're going to look at some of the common posture patterns that many of us adapt or sometimes get stuck in that can lead to pain, tension, and later on down the road, even more imbalance in the body. So we're going to look at ways to feel and identify those patterns in your own body, and then how to reverse those patterns and kind of break free and give your body a new way to stand and to hold yourself for less pain and more freedom in your spine. So for this video, we're going to focus more on the upper body. This part one, shoulders and neck, their relationship, and the most common postural imbalance that I see, which is rolling the shoulders forward, closing the chest, overstretching the upper back, and then what happens to be able to look up and participate in the world, we lift the head to lift the gaze, and then we get this crunched up cervical spine, the back of your neck and your head goes forward. So we're going to work on reversing all of that. And to do that, first we have to feel it in the body. We have to feel what that's like, the difference between that posture pattern that I just described and being long and tall and lifted out of that. So go ahead and just find a comfortable seat. And this whole practice, I would recommend being on the floor, but if you want to get up on a bed would be better. We are going to lay down a little later, so have some room to stretch out and extend your whole body. For now, finding a comfortable seat, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. We really want to feel this, so sometimes taking away vision is a really powerful step in being able to feel the shape of the body more. When we kind of shut down vision, we turn on the inner eye. So turning on your inner gaze and just feeling into your shape here as you settle into a seat. I'm going to ask you to not sit tall for now. Those words don't often come out of my mouth, but you can be a little schlumpy here. Sit comfortably and imagine you're just hanging out with friends or family, sitting around a dinner table or a fire. Relax your spine, relax your shoulders, relax your head. Just kind of sink into what is most comfortable in your body if you did not have to effort at all here. Just resting into your seat. Take a moment to observe your pelvis. Feel like maybe it's tilting forward or back or to one side. Observe the length of your spine, where it curves and what directions those curves go in. Look through your lower back, up through your middle back, your upper back, and through your neck. Again, not trying to change this posture, just observing. How does your rib cage feel? Your front ribs, do they feel lifted, centered in space, parallel to the ground? Are they tipping forward a little or tipping back, or again tipping to one side? And your shoulders, where are they landing in space? Your neck, your head. Just observing. Now let's imagine there's a string tied to the top of your head and there's someone standing next to you holding the other end of that string above your head. And they're going to gently pull on that string. So it lifts the crown of your head up, which in turn starts to pull the length of your spine up taller. And so you start to lift through the spine. Notice what happens in your rib cage when you lift through the spine, how it moves. And if there's anything happening in your shoulder girdle, your heart space, your upper back. Let's take a nice deep breath and then very slowly let your body sink back into that comfortable posture. Like that person that was holding the string is slowly releasing you back down. And let's do this again. Again, moving slow, and I want you to observe what's shifting in your body as you move. So that string gets pulled, the crown of your head lifts, your spine starts to lengthen. What's going on in your pelvis, in your rib cage, in your heart space, in your neck, and in your head. Slowly starting to melt down to your comfortable space. Pay attention to head, neck, and shoulders here. What's happening? Again, trying not to guide the movement. We're watching. One more time, one more pass through to observe. We're going to lift slowly. Someone's pulling that string. How does your head move in space, your shoulders, your ribs, and your pelvis? And then comfortably releasing, resting back down. So for many of you, you may have noticed when you rest into that comfortable space, your shoulders roll forward a bit and your upper back kind of rounds, your heart closes off, the rib cage tends to tip down towards the pelvis, and your head comes forward in space, chin comes forward in space, and then we lift up, the ribs lift, the heart space opens, the head moves back, almost like you're sitting in the seat of your car and bringing your head back to rest against the headrest. So that's where we want to be in an ideal world, that lengthened, tall, open posture. Many of our bodies are stuck in the rounded space, either from sitting at the computer, being on our phones, leaning over things. It's just common for us now to be in that curved posture. So let's work on first releasing the shoulders from the head and neck. So many of us tend to wear our shoulders up towards our ears. I'm going to take a few moments to retrain these muscles on each side of your neck, what it feels like to lengthen and relax and not have to be contracted up towards your ears. So we're going to start with the left shoulder. And it's a really simple, easy movement. All you're going to do is, excuse me, slowly bring your left shoulder up towards your ear. And then slowly bring it back down away from your ear and let your shoulder blades slide down your back. As far as it's going to comfortably go, we're not pushing, pressing too much here. We're just softly gliding down. And then the most important part here is to relax. Let go all the way. This is kind of a 3-step movement. Step 1, we bring shoulder towards the ear. Little contraction. It's not a huge squeeze. And then slowly we're drawing shoulder away from ear. Glide your shoulder blade down your back comfortably. And then part 3, most important part, relax completely. Let go. And take a moment again. Contract. So we're showing the body what it feels like to contract that muscle to bring the shoulder up. Body can recognize that pattern. And then we're pulling the shoulder away. We're showing the body what it feels like to lengthen those muscles to bring that shoulder down. And you might feel it's a little jerky. It might hop a little on the way down. That's where the brain kind of loses control of the body. It's stuck in those patterns. Okay? And then we relax. We let that integrate. We let the body kind of process what just happened. So let's do one more. Shoulder up towards your ear gently. Shoulder pulls down away from your ear slowly. And then fully relax. And close your eyes if you didn't have your eyes closed already. Just take a moment to compare left shoulder to right. How does it feel? For some of you, you may find that your left shoulder feels like it has dropped down. Your right shoulder still kind of crunched up. It might feel higher or more tense or dense. So we're just feeling the difference, the work you just did. And then we're going to move to the other shoulder. We want to even this out. So let's take the right shoulder up towards your right ear. And then again, glide down your back gently. No need to press too much. This would be an easy movement. And then relax completely. And again, shoulder up towards your ear. And then down your back. And then letting go. Shoulder up again. Letting the body recognize that pattern. Shoulder down, away from your ear, showing the body a new way to be, what it feels like to lengthen. And then come relax completely. Let the body process, integrate. Let's do one more, shoulder up towards your ear. Shoulder down your back. And relax completely. And now again, close your eyes. Take a moment, compare left to right. Again, hopefully feels a little more balanced here. You may notice one side still feels a little higher. That side may need a few more cycles. Maybe we have two different shoulders, two different sides of the neck, so they may have different patterns that they're stuck in. A similar pattern maybe, but different on each side. So feel free to go back when you want to or when you have time and give the shoulder that feels a little higher a little extra love. For now, we're going to take hands forward. You can open your eyes and reach your arms forward, flex your wrists so your palms face forward like you were putting your hands against an invisible wall in front of you. So what we're going to do is press that wall away so your arms lengthen a little more. Your shoulder blades are pulling away from each other behind you. And just pull your shoulders back for a moment and then slowly do that again. Press your arms away. Feel the movement of your shoulder blades pulling away from each other and how they kind of wrap around the sides of your rib cage. So this is a common pattern, again, where rounding the shoulders really, we're mimicking that posture that many of us get stuck in. Pulling the shoulders forward, the shoulder blades get wrapped around the rib cage and sometimes get kind of stuck there. So we're overstretching the upper back, which leads to a lot of pain. Many of us have upper back pain. So let's press that wall away again. Let the body recognize that feeling, that pattern. And then pulling your shoulders slowly back in space, letting your shoulder blades reach back towards each other. Gently contract on your upper back. You'll feel your heart space pull forward. So let's again gently push the wall away. And then go ahead and pull your hands, your shoulders back in space. Lift your spine a little taller. Feel your heart pull forward. Again, just feeling the difference between those two. Common pattern, rolling forward, and then pulling the shoulders back, letting them feel what it feels like to be on the upper back instead of hugged around the rib cage. And we're also mobilizing the shoulders here. Keep going forward and back slowly, and breaking up maybe a little bit of muscle or connective tissue tension under or around the shoulder blades as they move. Sometimes they're very much not used to moving back onto the upper back. They've really been stuck in that pattern. So maybe breaking up a little tension that's been sitting there for a long time. Let's take one more, reach forward and pull back. And the shoulders might be burning a little here. Drop your hands down, let's roll your shoulders around a little bit, just release from that. And then go ahead and come up to hands and knees. So a little table pose, get your knees underneath your hips, your wrists under your shoulders. And for just a moment here, let's practice that same movement we were just doing, but now we have a floor to press against. So when you press your hands into the floor, you're able to press the back of your heart space up towards the sky. You'll feel your shoulder blades, again, kind of pull around the sides of your rib cage. And then slowly come back to a neutral space. Feel your shoulder blades return to your upper back closer towards one another, and your heart space will open up a little more. So we're not sinking down between the shoulders, we're just coming back to neutral. Let's try that one more time. Press the back of the heart space up, feel your shoulder blades glide around your ribs, and then slowly sink back to neutral. Let your shoulder blades return to your upper back, your collarbones widen. Let's move from here into some cat and cow. Take a breath, drop your belly, lift your head and tail. And as you exhale, move your spine the other way. Let's tuck the tail, rainbow the spine, hang your head. Go back and forth a few cycles. Just getting comfortable here, stretching back and belly. And we're going to play with a different version of cat and cow to, we call it flossing the spinal cord, or I've heard it called flossing the spinal cord. Really releasing tension from the membranes around the spinal cord and the spine, and giving more freedom to the whole length of the spine, which in turn gives more freedom to your nerves, your nervous system. So let's land back in our cow pose, belly dropped, head and tail lifted, and then keep this whole shape from your tail up to your neck. And then we're gonna let the head fall forward. So belly still dropping down, tail still lifted, heart is still reaching forward. Just the weight of your head falls, chin towards your chest. And then very slowly, and sometimes this is a little bit of brain yoga, especially if you've been doing cat and cow for a long time, this different way of moving can sometimes trip us up a little bit. So go slow. Start to round your spine back into cat pose, rainbow towards the ceiling. And at the same time, lift your head like you would in a normal cow pose. So gaze lifts, the spine rounds. And then we're gonna come back. So you go back into your cow pose, belly drops, head drops, chin towards your chest. So we're just moving the head and neck the opposite way we usually would in cat-cow. Round your spine, lift your gaze. Okay, drop your spine, drop your head. Close your eyes and start to play with that movement. And again, if you get a little lost in it, you feel like you're doing it wrong, that's okay. Just do your best. Feel it, enjoy any movement your body is participating in. Let's do another cycle or two. And then as you come back to center, neutral spine, if you're getting a little tired on your hands or wrists, feel free to come down to your forearms or stay on your hands and just play a little bit with your shoulders on your back. Again, mobilizing your shoulders. You can shift them forward and back, so it's like one shoulder blade moves up your back while the other moves down, kind of scissoring back and forth. You can play with some circles, maybe one shoulder blade moving clockwise, one counterclockwise. It almost becomes like a little figure 8 kind of motion. Okay, and then turning that around, going the other way. No right or wrong way here. Just move your shoulder blades around your back. Feel all the potential they have for movement, for finding freedom in this space. One or two more breaths like that. And again, coming back to a neutral space. Before we move on to our backs, let's take a puppy pose here. Walk your hands forward. Keep your hips up over your knees. Tailbone reaching towards the sky. Lower your chest towards the ground and take a few breaths here. Just stretching the chest, stretching through your arms, your side body. And opening that heart space. And then as you're ready, walking back, or you can slide back to child's pose for a breath or two if you'd like. We're going to come back down to sit on the floor. And then we're going to come down to your back. So make sure you have room behind you. Scoop forward if you need to. And as you come down, feel free to stretch your body out for a breath or two, legs extended. You can do arms up and overhead or out to the sides. Again, just showing the body what it feels like to be long, all the way through the spine, extended out further through the limbs. Bringing your arms back down, we're going to plant feet on the floor, so knees are going to bend up. And we're going to take an exercise that comes from the world of somatic exercise. So it tends to blend a lot with yoga, not in the tradition of yoga really, but I love the movement. I think it's perfect for what we're doing here. So hands are going to come up in front of you, fingertips towards the sky, kind of like you're reaching towards the sky. and your palms face each other. So we're going to pretend that in between your hands there's a big, thick rope. And so if you reach your hands up this rope, you could grab onto it, and you can imagine pulling yourself up along this rope. Shoulders for now are going to stay resting on the ground. And make this easy. Let your arms just kind of hang out above your shoulders. And then we're going to start with the right arm reaching up. You can let your shoulder lift from the ground. Imagine that you're pulling onto that rope or reaching as high as you can on that rope, and then slowly lower back down. And then we're going to do that again, reaching up and lower down. You're reaching up. Notice how your shoulder lifts, stretches through your upper back, your ribs rotate a bit, coming back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Reaching up as high as you can. Feel how your head and neck, just go with the movement. Nice and easy. This is stretching shoulders and relaxing the neck. Let's move to the left side. So right shoulder comes back down. Left hand is going to reach up that rope and lower. And again, reaching. Take your time to lower all the way back down completely. Let that shoulder blade meet the ground. Lifting up, reaching. Feel again how the ribs rotate, head and neck are just kind of going along for the ride. And reaching. Coming back down. Let's alternate now. So let's start with the right, reach up and lower. And then the left, reaching up and lowering down. Shoulder blades moving independently, stretching the back. Head might be rolling gently side to side as you do this. Not thinking about moving it side to side, just letting it be, letting it follow the movement. And next time you bring your left hand up, let's pause there for a moment. Keep reaching your left as high as you can, and while you keep your left hand up, start to move the right hand up, reaching high up for that rope, and notice the point when your right hand reaches so high that it starts to pull your left hand, your left arm back down to the ground. So we have kind of a pulley system in the upper body here. You're going to keep the right hand high, start to reach the left hand back up to meet the right, and notice when the right arm starts to naturally come down as the left reaches higher. Back and forth, reach the right until the left starts to drop. And as you keep going, notice that point somewhere between the high reach and the let go, where your back is wide and expansive. Bring both arms slowly back to center. Drop your hands back down to your belly or arms down by your sides. And you can keep your knees up if you'd like, or you can extend your legs out for a few moments of breath. Just feeling your body, letting your shoulders rest towards the ground, maybe giving your head a little side to side, roll back and forth. Move on to part 2. So I'm going to stop this video here. If you want to join for part 2, connecting upper body to lower body and coming a little bit more into the pelvis to spine relationship with posture, that will be our second video. So feel free to join me there or take a little Shavasana, a little resting time here, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.